Welcome to the bonus episode of UNiSON. Along with the 7 unique tracks we played through the story mode, there are 5 more songs exclusive to the Club Tecmo mode of the game, so let's check those out. Here, we can practice any song as long as we like before jumping into the performance mode. The game also keeps track of high scores in this mode, in case you find yourself getting competitive about that sort of thing. For the most part, I'll be sticking to just one portion of the practice routine, since there's not as much to talk about here at the end of the LP. So the first track we'll be looking at is O.P.P. by hip-hop group Naughty by Nature. A reasonably big hit from the early 90s, O.P.P. was one of the first rap songs to also find success as a pop hit, reaching number 6 on the Billboard Top 100 chart. Thanks to its breakout success, "Down with O.P.P." would become a popular catchphrase in the early 90s, and the number of plays it would have on MTV would eventually lead the channel to make its own tribute to the song, called Down with MTV, featuring Todd One, Ed Lover, and Dr. Dre of all people. That said, it's a bit of an odd song to find that sort of widespread affection, given its subject matter. O.P.P. is a song about a general infidelity, though the fact that Naughty by Nature dance around the acronym's meaning may have helped its chart popularity and mimetic status, only fully completing the phrase as the ambiguous "other people's property" within the lyrics. It may have also benefited from being inclusive, acting as an anthem for both men and women who have flings outside of their relationships. According to the band, the chorus originated from a local hustler they used to hang out with that would talk about being down with OPM, or other people's money. The group would mess around with that acronym for fun before finding a rhythm for it and putting it into a song. Now, the cut of O.P.P. that UNiSON uses is a little awkward since the verses are really long in the original song, but I think it still gets to show off just how catchy and fun the song is, which is what's really important. So this is the third song in the game to be carried over from the Japanese version, Nico's Night of Fire. Now, Nico is just one of the many pseudonyms used by singer Maurizio de Corio, depending on which label he's working for at the time. Many of his tracks would find their way into the anime series Initial D, which has become well known for its Eurobeat soundtrack, including Night of Fire and Running in the 90s. Like the version of YMCA in UNiSON, the English version of the song is sung by Paula Terry, who, despite recording many English-language versions of Eurobeat songs for Bomani games, has gone on record as not really enjoying the genre. As far as the dance routine for this song goes, it's done in the Para Para style, which some might recognize from the Bomani game Para Para Paradise. This style of dancing is believed to have originated in Japanese disco clubs during the 80s, though it's now most commonly seen accompanying Eurobeat music. Para Para is focused on synchronized upper body movements and generally avoids heavy footwork, as it's meant to accompany songs with high tempos that may be hard to keep up with otherwise. It seems like the perfect choice for UNiSON as well, given that the joystick movements are meant to act as proxies for the dancer's body, and focusing just on the arms makes it easier to make a match between the dance routine and the gameplay. The next song is a little weird. This is Nowhere by Phase 4, and if you search for this band on Google, you'll likely run into Wedding Bands for Hire. It's hard to find info about this particular boy band quartet because they appear to have disbanded after the release of their first single. There's a special thanks to the group in the credits of UNiSON, which makes me think they got a deal on including this track in the game, possibly in the hopes of being early adopters on the next big thing. And it makes sense. 2 years before the game released, we'd see the Backstreet Boys and NSYNC release their most popular albums, Millennium and No Strings Attached respectively, so boy bands were on the up and up at the time. Phase 4 would eventually become a trio and reband to VI3, a pun on VIP, and release a single album in 2002 called So Tight. The album also included a version of Nowhere. The idea behind VI3 was to have more edge in comparison to other boy bands, taking more influence from, in their own words, Michael Jackson and R. Kelly, and eschewing the stereotypical boy band look. It doesn't seem to have worked out for them, since they appeared to have disbanded after their album released, though they did find some minor success in their hometown of Chicago, which is nice. For all their posturing about, trying to be something different than the average boy band, the song just comes off as a pretty rote ballad. I mean, it's like, fine, but I don't really see where the edge is coming from. Dynamite! Now we have Everybody Dance by Chick. If you remember from previous episodes, Chick was headed by Nile Rodgers and Bernard Edwards, who happened to write We Are Family for Sister Sledge after their own band's success. The duo would also go on to compose Diana Ross's most popular album, Diana, proving that their musical prowess was effective both inside and outside of their own projects. Everybody Dance, released in 1977, was their second single, and like their first, Dance, 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 it reached number 1 on the US Dance Club Songs chart. It also happened to feature Luther Vandross on backing vocals 4 years before he would break out into a solo career. With the success of Chick's first 3 singles, including the second A-side to Everybody Dance, You Can Get By, Chick topped the disco charts for 8 weeks, dethroning the Village People's first album and cementing their place in the music world. The group and their music may not be as well remembered now, but they would go on to inspire groups such as the Sugar Hill Gang, Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five, and even Queen for some songs. Despite their professional recognition and a staggering 11 nominations into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, they still have yet to be inducted, making them the band with the most nominations to still not be accepted. And finally, here's the last song on the soundtrack, straight from the Japanese version, Synchronized Love Millennium by Joe Renoue. You can only unlock this song by completing at least one song on any difficulty with all perfects, and that's a lot harder than it seems. Anyways, I'm leaving in the full practice routine for a reason that will become apparent soon. So, Joe Renoue has done most of his work as a studio musician or producer, though his solo song, Synchronized Love Millennium, would find its way into a number of Dance Dance Revolution games over the years and various commercials, and oh, look, it's over. So yeah, the big unlockable song is like 30 seconds long, but honestly that ends up making it the hardest song in the game to get a good rating on. Since there are only about 30 movements in the entire routine, there's very little room for error when it comes to getting an A rank, and the syncopation in this particular routine is really hard to get a handle on, even with practice. This is definitely the hardest I've had to work for a good score in this game, so in that way, it's a worthy final challenge and makes sense as an unlockable. And that's everything! Thank you for joining me on this journey through a forgotten game, and I hope you came out of the experience with a new appreciation for something attached to UNiSON. See you guys next time.